And then she said, "You've booked Rumpleteazer." And then my phone died. So I was like, with this information, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then I started crying. We are from a family we just neglected, and to get our parents or other cats' approval or attention, that's why we commit these little crimes, is to actually be seen. I think as an actress, the minute you are transformed into your physical character, you there's a magic that happens. It really is.
Continuing with my wonderful
Great.
series on Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber, we're waiting for them with open arms here in India at the Neeta Mukesh Ambani Cultural Centre, 17th of June to the 28th of June at the Grand Theatre. What a beautiful venue. It's wheelchair accessible. It's got the most beautiful music pit where all the musicians sit in there. And of course, the balconies, the house seats, the dress circle, and the platinum, all waiting to invite you guys. Tickets are going very fast at Book My Show as well as at nmacc.com. And the venue, which is the Neeta Mukesh Ambani Cultural Centre at Bandra Complex in Mumbai. So if you're in the city, then head to the box office directly. This is a West End and Broadway legendary musical, 7 Tony Awards, an Olivier, a Grammy, a Moonlight Mystery that can exist only on stage. Very pleased to welcome onto the show the lady who plays Rumpleteazer, and that's Tannah Levick. Tannah, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm good. So excited to be here. Can you hear me? You can hear me nicely, right?
Loud and clear. I want to take you back to October. I want to take you back to October of 2024. You
Yeah.
auditioned, but it wasn't easy because you had to spend about 5 months waiting for the call. And tell me what you were doing when the call actually came, and how did you react when you finally heard you'd be playing Rumpleteazer?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was a quite a crazy audition process. So yeah, like you said, I auditioned in October, and then I only got the call. It was about, I think it was March or April, somewhere there. And I was actually in Abu Dhabi. I was doing a show there called Disney's The Magic Box. And I was out with my friend. We were in one of the shops. We were just doing like our regular, because we free in the day. So we're free in the day, we're going shopping. And then I got a call from my agents. And then she said, "You've booked Rumpleteazer." And then my phone died. So I was like, with this information, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then I started crying. So I was in a shopping mall in Abu Dhabi when I got the call.
Yeah, but it's wonderful that you were doing Disney's Magic Box at the time. So one thing to
Yes.
another. That's wonderful. It's the life of an actor. So Rumpleteazer
Yeah.
is such a deliciously mischievous character, Tana. I mean, a cat burglar, a prankster, a performer who seems to thrive on
Yeah.
chaos. When you first got the role, what was the first thing you felt you had to understand? Her comedy, her physicality, her relationship with Mungo Jerry, or just the sheer stamina of the role?
I think with all of us, the first thing you have to understand is how to be a cat. I think it's such a like complex thing in itself. I think so. You go to the beginning. It's like we can't just be, oh, how do we become this sort of thing? First, you've got to know how to be a cat, how to walk like a cat, how to, and then you like add on the layers. Like, oh, my cat's uh she's an owned cat. This cat, so how would an owned cat walk, or how would an owned cat um how would its stance be? So I think you start off by just first getting um the physicality of the cat. That's where you start, and that's hard in itself because we're not cats.
True. Now, Rumpleteazer and Mungo Jerry are not just naughty cats.
Mm,
They're almost
yeah.
vaudeville performers inside the larger world of cats. I mean, they're quick, they're
Yeah.
cheeky, they're rhythmically precise. How did you and Austin, if I'm not mistaken, that's the character, the actor playing Mungo Jerry.
Yes.
How did you and Austin build
Yes.
that double act chemistry so that the mischief actually feels spontaneous, but it is actually tightly choreographed?
Yeah. So, me and Austin luckily have worked together many a times before. We actually studied at the same school, which helps a lot. To be able to trust your partner is very, very important, especially with an act like the two of us do. So I think that that's the most important thing. Um, but yeah, I think it's also about like in the moment every night. It feels fresh, it feels new. You've got to be in each moment. As much as it is tightly choreographed, you've got to live in each beat, each moment. And yeah, like I said, we've worked together a couple of times before. The trust is there, and we have a lot of banter. And leading up to our number, we have a lot of like our own plot going on. So it really helps.
That really eases me into my next one nicely because it is about the big number with Mungo Jerry.
Right.
Now, that one's
Yes.
famous, really famous for its tandem cartwheels, its acrobatics.
Yes.
I want to know what kind of physical training did you have to put yourself through to meet that bar, and what does that partnership with Austin feel like on stage now that it's established that you guys are friends? But were you training together, or training individually, and what kind of physical training?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as a dancer, as a performer, you are always doing your own physical training, your own yoga, ballet, all the dance classes, that sort of thing. And while we were doing cats, we obviously got a lot of rehearsal, me and Austin together. So there would be like a Mango Jerry Rumpleteazer rehearsal many a time. So everyone would leave and it would just be us. And then we obviously learned the number, and then we had to eventually do the cartwheels, and we just had to go for it. It's all about actually about balance. It's all about where your weight is placed. And but it was a struggle at the beginning, especially because before you find the rhythm, it's not easy. And especially like I'm the one doing the heavy lifting. So it was quite a challenge. I used to go to bed at night dreaming about the cartwheels every single night, but we got it. And um yeah, I just think for me especially, I had to work a lot on shoulder strength. So that was something new that I had to do, because a lot of if my shoulders were weak, then he would fall. Or so that was something that I had to like incorporate into my routine now. And even now, while in our off seasons, I've got to make sure, the cartwheels, I've got to keep training my shoulders. So yeah, and obviously leg stability, your legs have to be very strong. So yeah, and then just trust and that rhythm. It's all about that rhythm. But those cartwheels were not easy. There were lots of tears shed at the beginning.
Tana, I wonder if you went back to the source material. I mean, lots of actors do that because T.S. Eliot's original cat poems have this very British wit. There's clever
Yeah,
names, there's sly humor, there's eccentric personalities. So Andrew Lloyd Webber then turns that poetry into a global musical language. What did you
yeah.
discover about Rumpleteazer when you went back to the source material, if you did, and not just the stage script?
That's interesting. Um, well, what I discovered about Rumpleteazer, obviously poetry, you interpret your own, you know, the poems there. And Cats itself is one big poem. Everyone takes their own interpretation. But I mean, me and Austin sat many a times and discussed our interpretation of Mangoje and Rumpelteazer, because people have this misconception that they are um, just because they're naughty and cat burglars, that they are like cats of the streets. They're like, and ironically, like we have collars. So we are owned cats, which means we actually come from a family, which is very interesting. And I think a lot of people don't know that. And I think it's like maybe it's, I mean, I go very deep with the material and deep with my interpretation, but that we are from a family, we just neglected, and to get our parents or other cats' approval or attention, that's why we commit these little crimes, is to actually be seen. So that's something that we interpreted.
Nice. Now, for audiences in India who may know memory but may not know the full world of the Jellicle cats, how would you explain the emotional heart of cats? Basically, beneath all the spectacle, Tana, what do you think the show's really about?
I think that the show is about acceptance, Grisabella was one of us, and she was in a way like kicked out of the group, but just because, and she's not welcome back in because she's different or she's been through a hard time. And obviously that's the bigger message is that everyone deserves a second chance. Maybe not a third or a fourth, but everyone deserves a second chance. And sometimes I think what I learned from the musical is that a lot of the times when Grisabella enters the scene, the other cats don't even give her a chance to listen. So they've already made up their minds about how they feel about her from what they've heard from other people, other cats. And they only take that. They don't actually take a moment to actually sit and listen to what she has to say. Only when Old Deuteronomy says to us at the end, sit down and listen, is when we listen to her sing memory. So I think that's also something to take away from it, is to sometimes, as a human, you've just got to be able to listen to somebody else. Just take a moment, even if you think you won't agree with them, just listen, I think.
Yeah, that's great advice. Listen, you've already performed in major musical theatre environments, including international work. But Mumbai, India is a new audience, and the NMACC, which
Yeah.
is the Neeta Mukesh Ambani Cultural Centre, is a very specific, grand performance space. What are you most curious about, Tannah, when it comes to Indian audiences? Do you want to know our energy, our emotional response, our love for music and dance, or our reaction to the scale of staging? So, anything you feel about India, your curiosity.
Yeah. I think I'm just always, when I go to a new country or travel for work for a new country to a new country, you're always curious about how the audience takes the show. And it's always different, no matter where we go with the show. Every place you go to, there's a different, like, oh, there's a different laugh here, or there's a different interpretation here, or people, So I think that's, in terms of the show, I'm always curious about that and how people take the show. Some countries are better audiences than other countries, but just in general, I'm very, very excited to on a personal level, to visit India, just because I've never ever been, and I've heard amazing things. And I know this is probably a stereotype, but I'm such a yogi, and I feel like if there's any place to go to that will have amazing yoga, and I'm just very curious, very excited to meet the people. I've heard the most amazing things. I've had friends that have gone to do the cheerleading, the
In the IPL, in the cricket. Yeah.
yes, and they just say the most amazing things about it. But they go for months, so they really, and some of them are actually in the class with us, so they kind of know India a little bit better than us. But I'm very, very excited. I think just to experience the culture is incredible. The only India I know is from the Cheetah Girls when they went to India, the Cheetah Girls movie.
Listen, what's exciting for me, because I've been in the radio for years and years, and I love playing music artists and talking to singer songwriters. Off stage, Tannah, you're also a recording artist. Your EP Phases
Yes.
has dropped. Your single All the Lovely Things is out in the world. And they're two completely
Mm-hmm.
different forms of storytelling. I mean, what does Rumpleteazer give you? What does Rumpleteazer give you that Tannah, the singer songwriter, doesn't? And vice versa.
Oh, that's a flippin' great question. I think honestly, Rumpleteazer, and I mean this, and I say this all the time, Rumpleteazer in every way, shape, and form has changed my life. She is just, it's not just her, it's the musical Cats has changed my life. And I think being able to be as silly and you know, as a human, to do something so silly as be a cat really allows you to, in your real life, like, go for things, because you're like, I'm not scared of anything. I'm literally crawling on a stage as a cat. I think so. Rumble Teasers allowed me to access that part of myself that's not afraid to go for things a little bit more, because it feels like once you've like dipped your toe in something where you feel like you're out of your comfort zone, you actually realize you can do more. So a Rumble Teaser has allowed Tannah to expose herself more and put herself out there. I think releasing Phases, I released it in my rehearsal period for Cats, and only now I've really started to start promoting it properly. But yeah, I'm not scared of, releasing music into the world, and some songs being good, some songs not being so good. That's the only way you learn. So I think there's a lot of artists out there that are scared to release music because they're like, oh, what if it's not good? But the only way you're going to learn is if you put it out there. So, and I don't think Tannah has taught Rumpleteazer anything. I think Rumpleteazer taught Tannah everything.
That's a great answer. Now, Cats has been seen by over 77 million people in 54 countries, 23 languages. You're now part of that lineage. Is there a previous Rumpleteazer whose performance you've studied or drawn from? Or have you deliberately stayed away to find your own version of Rumpleteazer?
That's a good question. So I didn't study a particular Rumpleteazer, but I was in contact with the two Rumpleteasers that I know quite well, and have become very good friends with. I'm not going to say their surnames because I might butcher their surnames, but Savannah, who just did the Rumpleteazer in Australia, and Katie, who did I think it was a world or an Asian tour of Cats, and she did it in London, I'm not sure. But those two girls, as soon as I got the part, I reached out to those two girls and I just got their advice. And yeah, I was chatting to them throughout my whole rehearsal period and tech. And it really helped me because when I started, for example, with the cartwheels, I was having a problem with my shoulder. And I straight away was like, Katie, Savannah. They're like, no, it's normal. The Rumpleteasers all go through like a little shoulder thing or whatever. So it was really amazing I've never done a show where I've been able to reach out to people who've been in the exact same position as me because everyone in my cast, we all playing different characters. No one really understands Rumpleteazer. It's a it's a beast in itself. So it was so amazing to be able to reach out to those two girls. And I mean, they sent me some videos, so obviously I took some inspiration from that. But other than that, I ironically did not look at other. I mean, I looked at some videos, but I didn't think, oh, I'm going to do it like this. I really made it my own, but I took advice from those who came before me. Yeah.
You mentioned this briefly about almost like going to quote unquote cat school. And I want to deep dive into that right now. I mean, it's obviously a huge part of rehearsal, right? Learning how a cat walks, how a cat hears,
Yeah.
how a cat moves through space. And for an audience that has never seen cats like us, I'd like you to walk us through what those first few weeks of rehearsal actually looked like. Your cat school, how does a human become a cat?
Yeah. Um, so it's crazy. The first couple rehearsals, we first like get to know the script, get to know our characters. We each get some adjectives to describe our characters. Trying to think right now what mine were. I think Rumpleteazus was um oh my gosh, I'm not gonna butcher them. I'm not gonna pretend like but I think it was along the lines of mischievous, naughty, um and effervescent. Oh, that was one. Effervescent. Impressionable. Effervescent, naughty, and impressionable. I got it. Those are the three words. So everyone gets their three words. And so you have to remember those at the back of your mind. That's just for your character. But how we start to get into cats was we first learn how to walk. We all like obviously we first lie on our backs and we like actually get into this like state of like visually seeing our cat and then becoming our cat. Then we learn how to walk. And something so interesting is cats walk um with same arm, same leg. So they don't like humans, like we walk, we like cross, but cats are the same. So that was something we had to really get used to, is because when we go with our right arm, we're going with our right leg. So learning how to walk, and then we incorporate learning how to walk when we angry or sad, or incorporating those, and then adding layering those our adjectives onto our cats. And yeah, so they would often like I even at college we did um a module on cats, and there was times when the teacher was like throwing things into the middle of the room and you had to go and like fetch the thing, or you'd hear a sound of a dog barking, and how would you react? You'd like, and cats react with their back, their spines first and then their heads last, as whereas humans, we turn our heads first. So it was all of those little nitty gritty details we had to learn and incorporate into our cat's physicality. So we'd spend time in the morning doing cat school, and then we'd learn choreography, and then eventually we had to bring them both together, because there was a time when we were doing choreography, but then we were missing the felinity. So we had to remember what we did in the morning with cat school and incorporate that into the choreography. So we had to really marry the two. Sorry,
Awesome.
I get very passionate. I love this show.
Yeah, and that passion comes through, and I really appreciate it. It's amazing. Who's a cast member
Thank
you
you.
bond with the best? Someone you're friends with, you can hang out even after rehearsals are over, grab a coffee, chat some, and why?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, honestly, I'm a little butterfly. I'm friends with everyone, but I am very good friends with Katie, who plays Bombalurina. And yeah, me and her get along so well. She's actually 4 years younger than me, but she's like my older sister. She's great. And Cassiel, who plays Victoria, um, we often get mistaken for each other. It's hysterical. Yeah, everyone. Dylan, who plays Ramtam Tugger, we all are actually quite a close group of cats.
Well, I've had the good fortune of meeting Tatum. She's wonderful. Yeah, I had a
Mm,
chat with her.
she is.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and so's Dylan. He's just so he has so much
Yeah.
to
Oh, so
say.
you've met Tatum
Yeah,
and
I've
Dylan.
met the two of them. You're the third cast member that I'm meeting. But yeah, I
Oh,
can
crazy.
imagine you
Yeah,
guys
they
being
are
friends.
really, really good friends of mine.
Lovely, lovely.
They really
Are
are.
you familiar with Indian culture and our musical films? I mean, we have a history of Bollywood dance dramas. I wonder if you've seen any. What do you find fascinating about our movie Bollywood musicals?
I actually am not too familiar with it, but I would love to be, and I would love to be notified a bit more on it so that I can know before I like arrive there. You want to, but I do obviously. I mean, like I said in the beginning, um, I remember as a kid watching the Cheetah Girls. I know it sounds so silly, but I watched the Cheetah Girls, and it's the one where they go to India, and honestly, like that is how I see India in my mind. It's the most incredible. I go and watch that movie probably once a year because I'm like, wow, India just looks incredible. It's like my only. So that is my. Yeah, but I would love to be educated more about it.
Lovely. Is there a singer songwriter or an actor in musicals whose work you've really enjoyed? Someone you found inspiring? Who are they, and why have you found them inspirational?
Is this to do with anyone or is it just musical theater specifically?
Specifically musical theater, because you come from. I mean, you're doing this one there, and of
Yeah.
course, I wouldn't mind if you even add on a singer songwriter, because that is part B of Tannah, isn't it? You're
Part
an
B of
actor in
me.
musical theater, and you're also a singer songwriter. So maybe you can pick two, one from the musical theater and one who's a singer songwriter.
Cool. So when I was 17, I was cast in a musical called Thoroughly Modern Millie at school. It was our school play. And before that, I was just a dancer. I was not really into musical theater. I didn't really do singing lessons or whatever. And then I got into this musical and I got Millie, I got the lead. And I was like, whoa, like I need to start singing. And how I started singing was I started copying the girl who played Millie um, many, many, many years ago. And her name is Sutton Foster. And she is, to this day, she is my favorite performer, my icon. Even if I were to any other celebrity, Sutton Foster is my everything. So I used to watch videos of her and mimic the way that she sounded. And if you hear me sing, it will make sense because I sound like I have this sort of twang that she sings with. So yeah, I love Sutton Foster with my whole heart. I love her so much. She is the most incredible performer. She encapsulates musical theater. So it's Sutton Foster. And then this is going to be a bit personal, but like for my pop inspiration or whatever, it's not going to be a celebrity, but it's my grandfather. He was a pioneer in the music industry in South Africa.
Wow.
So he, yeah, he allowed me to um, actually, you know, record and try and pursue those dreams in music as well. His name is David Gresham. So I'm sure in South Africa he's quite famous because he
And
was
it's
such
a
a
he
pioneer.
runs. There's a record label called David Gresham Records, isn't it?
Yes, that's the record label I'm with. That's my
Wow. And that was
grandfather.
started by your granddad.
Yes.
Woo. He must be an
Yeah.
icon in South Africa. Yeah.
He's an icon. He's amazing, and I'm so grateful to him. He obviously loves that I'm in this industry. He obviously wants me to be more of a pop star, but I'm like I'm living both a double life here. But I love musical theatre so much, so um, I think you can do anything and everything.
Sure. Yeah. This is going to be my last question. When you first put on the makeup, the wig, the unitard, when you first looked in the mirror as Rumpleteazer, what was that moment like, Tannah? Did the character click immediately, or did she take time to arrive?
Wow, yo, I had to just tell you, I've never been asked such great questions.
Thank
This
you.
is really like, thank you. Um, yeah, I think as an actress, the minute you are transformed into your physical character, you there's a magic that happens. It really is. So it was amazing. And even though we all have a unitard, a wig, makeup, they're all slightly different. So for example, like I cover Demeter and Jemima and Victoria. So you feel slightly different in each makeup and unitard. And so there was, as soon as especially when I put on the makeup, it took a long time because it took a long time to actually get it right. So that took a while. But the minute I put on my my second costume that I wear in the number with Austin, and it has the pearls, oh my God, I was like, I am playing Rumpleteazer. Like, what in the world? Like, I couldn't believe it because it's just like such an honor and there's such a legacy of Rumpleteasers, and then you go on to see, oh, this Rumpleteazer did this and this, and I just can't believe it was a moment where I was like, oh my God, I am playing Rumpleteazer. So it does give you you feel different in it. Definitely.
So there you have it. Tannah Levick plays Rumpleteazer. And might I remind you guys that there's only one show on weekdays, which is 7:30 p.m. And the weekends have two shows. Two shows on Saturdays and Sundays, which is 2:30 in the afternoon Indian Standard Time, followed by 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This is Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber at the NMACC Ground Theatre, June 17th to June 28th. Please get your tickets right away. They're going very fast at Book My Show at nmacc.com as well as the box office. So three places you can get them from. And do come and enjoy Cats. I really appreciate your time. This was great. And see you in India.
Thank you. Yes, see you in India. I'm so excited.
One world, your station.